What's going on, everybody? My name's Bendy, and this is Disney Heroes.
A mysterious hero protects the city of St. Canard. He is the terror that flaps in the night. He is the eraser that rubs out the typos of crime. He is Gozalin's dad. What? I am Darkwing Duck.
So, if you couldn't guess by that intro, today we're going to be talking about Darkwing Duck. Now, Darkwing Duck is a very interesting character in this game. He's one of the oldest characters in the game, and he's still extremely relevant in the meta, and one of the top heroes in the whole game. Unlike Dash, I think Darkwing Duck has honestly been in the meta for the entire existence of the game. He has really been that good ever since pretty much day one of his release. Unlike Dash, who kind of sucked up until red skills became a thing. Now, he did get better with his red skill, which I'll explain in a little bit. However, he was still good, even before red skills were a thing, so Darkwing Duck has just really had the staying power in his kit to stick around for a very, very, very long time in this game. I'm going to explain exactly how he has managed to do it in this video. If you guys enjoy my content, if you guys enjoy what I'm doing here on my channel, definitely give me a like, subscribe, comment. I hugely appreciate it. Also, join my Discord. The link is in the description. I would love to have everybody over there. We're always just having a good time over there chatting about Disney heroes, playing Poke 2, which is Pokemon catching on Discord, and pretty much anything else like that. We have a lot of fun over there, so if you want to join in on the fun, I'd hugely appreciate having you over there. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, so let's just get right on into it. So Darkwing Duck, he's really the main exception to the rule of old heroes bad in Disney heroes.
I'm a toy. I'm a t-shirt. I'm a board game. Finally, I get the respect I so aptly deserve.
We're going to start with his white skill. Gatling Fun. Darkwing Duck swings across the battlefield to deal about 10 million damage to the furthest enemy. The one really cool thing about this ability is he does swing to the backline, so this actually is a good way to take out backline supports or backline control heroes, or just anybody else in the backline.
Darkwing Duck once again emerges unscathed.
His green skill, Shadow Stalker. Before an enemy can make a critical attack on Darkwing Duck, he becomes invisible for 6 seconds to avoid the damage. While invisible, Darkwing Duck is untargetable. Darkwing Duck can only become invisible once every 10 seconds. This one is definitely one of the main reasons he's good, and it only gets better once you get over to his red skill, which I'll get to in a few minutes. This is a great way to help against crits, and it also just turns him invisible, so it makes it so that he can't be hit for a couple seconds. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Definitely one of the main reasons that Darkwing Duck is very good is this ability, mainly just because he dodges crits with this. His blue skill, Knockout.
I am the squash bug on your flying saucer windshield. I am
Knockout. Darkwing Duck throws a canister of knockout gas at his feet, stunning nearby enemies for 6 seconds and damaging them for about 7 million damage. If an enemy stunned by this is already stunned, their remaining stun duration is increased by 5 seconds. Whenever an ally stuns an enemy, they reduce the remaining cooldown of knockout by 2 seconds. Now, this is another great ability on Darkwing Duck. He gets a lot of stun off with this, which just really kind of shuts down the enemy team and allows him to go in with his white skill or his green skill. Now, the thing with Darkwing Duck is he's kind of a slow character, so it's not like he's not super heavy damage like Dash or Bolt or Shigo are that take out entire teams pretty much instantly. Darkwing Duck is more of like a slow burn type of character. He's able to just survive and just slowly take out the entire team one by one with his stun and invisibility and just the fact that he dives into the backline. Almost kind of like Ron Stoppable in a way. He's able to just single-handedly take out entire lines pretty much on his own. Onto his purple skill, we got Shadow Speed. Every time Darkwing Duck goes invisible, his attack speed is increased by 20% and his basic damage is increased by 2.5 million damage. I mean, this is mine. Obviously, yours is probably different than mine. This can stack up to 4 times. So this just makes it so that Darkwing Duck gradually goes faster and does more damage over the course of the fight, which basically just supports what I was just saying about how Darkwing Duck is kind of just a slow burn kind of character. He just kind of lives forever, slowly ramping up his speed and his basic attack damage. His red skill, the Terror. When the invisibility from Shadow Stalker ends, Darkwing Duck gains Reflect for 3 seconds. Here's what Reflect, blah blah blah, everyone knows what Reflect does. Darkwing Duck Duck heals 1 million-ish HP when he reflects damage from Reflect. Now this makes his green skill way better. So if you remember how invisibility works, basically invisibility will make him untargetable for 6 seconds, and then for the 3 seconds after that, he's going to have Reflect. And that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to explain there. Basically, this just allows him to not be able to be hit by any damage for basically a full 10 seconds. And then he basically just instantly uses Shadow Stalker again 1 second later, and the cycle just continues over and over and over again. And then also on this red skill, he gains some basic damage, armor, and some more damage to his blue skill. So yeah, all in all, Darkwing Duck, like I said, is very much a slow burn type of character. While I'd kind of compare Shigo and Wasabi being very similar to each other, I kind of definitely compare Darkwing Duck and Raw Unstoppable to being kind of similar to each other. They both have Reflect, they both can just single-handedly take out entire lines one by one, and I think they both have the staying power to just stick around in the meta forever. Obviously, Darkwing Duck has stuck around for over 3 years in the meta, which is kind of insane for this game. I don't think there's been any character that has been in the meta for as long as Darkwing Duck has, which is just really says how insane his kit is, that it's been able to stick around for over 3 years in a game that just constantly rotates the meta over and over and over again. So we have the Nick Wild Friend Disc, which is the one that I use personally. He gains skill power, he gains basic damage and max HP with the level side of things. On the star side of things, Darkwing Duck blocks 3 shields every 10 seconds. And whenever Darkwing Duck blocks a shield, that enemy's attack and movement speeds are reduced by 40%, and this looks like it's permanent too for the rest of the wave. So this is a great counter for a lot of shield heroes like Slinky, Baymax, Li Shang, even Shigo a little bit. She applies a shield to herself, move on, going to really help against them, and it's just another reason that Darkwing Duck is really powerful. And the other friend disc is Mr. Incredible. On the level up side, he gains armor and reality. The star side, the first 4 enemies that crit Darkwing Duck are stunned for, I'm guessing this goes to like 6 or 7 seconds or something like that. I'll pop it up on screen. I didn't look for myself before I started recording. This one is a pretty decent friend disc. It's really only going to be good for the very beginning of the fight, and then it's kind of useless after that. I don't think very many people use the Mr. Incredible disc. I think most people use this one generally, and yeah, that's pretty much that. So let's move on to his battle badge real quick, and then we'll talk about the mods. I think Darkwing Duck has a pretty decent battle badge here. Whenever Reflect is applied to 2 heroes, this really doesn't take long to apply to himself. He gains armor and skill power per damage roll hero with him, and if you enhance the battle badge, he gets 4 stacks of Hardy. Now this is decent. Hardy is always helpful, but the fact that it's only 4 and it'll apply at the very beginning of the fight, so it's probably worthwhile to enhance, but I don't know if it's one that you should really prioritize, but Hardy is always helpful. Now the mods for Darkwing Duck, you got quite a few options for Darkwing Duck really. Let me look at his stats really quick so I can show you guys. Darkwing Duck has pretty high normal crit actually. He's basically almost able to crit 100% of the time, but just by his base normal crit stat at max level for my server, and if you just throw some more normal crits on him, he'll be able to start super critting. So I have plus 48 from having 2 normal crit mods on him, so this basically makes it so that he's able to normal crit with all of his attacks, which is pretty damn good. So, and then what I did was 2 purple skill mods. So this just allows him to gain more basic damage from every time he goes invisible. It gradually makes him deal more and more damage for me as he goes. So that's what I did with him. You could also totally do the blue skill on Darkwing Duck just to allow his canister to deal more damage for you. They're pretty equally powerful, I think. So I would avoid green skill because it's a level-based skill. You don't really want to use mods on level-based skills. Other things you could totally do, you could definitely go with speed. Speed always helpful on any hero. It actually could be really helpful on Darkwing Duck because he does increase his own speed throughout the wave from his purple skill anyways. It might just help to get Darkwing Duck going a little bit faster if you give him a speed mod. You could also totally go with shield, armor, reality if you want to. Darkwing Duck has pretty decent armor and reality, especially compared to other damage roll heroes and support heroes near him. The only other thing I would definitely obviously avoid is fantastic crit, because he doesn't deal any fantastic damage at all, and he obviously doesn't have any fantastic crit. Well, he does have some fantastic crit, but he doesn't deal any fantastic damage, so fantastic crit mod is totally useless on him.
I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am Darkwing Duck!
Also, another thing to note is he does have pretty high crit damage, so This means that his crits that you're dealing are going to be dealing a little bit more damage, basically. Crit damage works the same way as crits do. Each point that you are above the level of the opponents that you're facing makes you deal 1% more damage with your crits. So since he has 366 crit damage, he's dealing almost, 94% more damage with his crits, basically, with his crit damage. So this just makes Darkwing Duck even more ridiculous, basically. He also has pretty good tenacity, which means that he's able to reduce the amount of time that he is stunned or frozen or anything else like that, which also makes him pretty cool. So Darkwing Duck really has a lot of survivability on his kit, and he just does a shit ton of damage, really. That's really the main reason that Darkwing Duck is so powerful out there. So take a look, he has armor negation also, so it makes him do even more damage. Darkwing Duck is seriously stacked. It's pretty ridiculous what Darkwing Duck has, especially for a hero that has been in the game for so long. Alright, so we've talked about his skills, his friend discs, his battle badge, and his mods. Let's talk about teammates that you want to put with Darkwing Duck.
The scent of crime is in the air.
Now, like I said, Darkwing Duck can kind of just single-handedly take out entire lines on his own, so the teammates that you can have with him definitely vary a lot. But some of the best teammates that you can have with him are going to be invisibility, and by extension of that, Kermit, who is going to make Darkwing's entire team invisible. Just kind of makes for an annoying invisibility team. Another one is Shank, so it's just going to reduce the amount of damage that Darkwing Duck takes. Basic damage boosters, like say Jim.
I may have to hurt that guy.
Because it's just going to increase the amount of damage that he does with his basic attack. His basic attack does a surprising amount of damage, especially considering all of the armor negation, normal crit, and crit damage that he has on his kit that I just showed you guys. His basic attacks actually do a very good amount of damage. So basic damage boosting, like from Jim, Megara, Kronk, Maximus, Animal, Kim. Study teams are also great for this reason. Not that Darkwing Duck doesn't already crit every single time, but Study, it's just going to be a good synergy if anything, really. You also have Phil, who gives a lot of basic damage to his team. Another great thing that's going to pair with Darkwing Duck is going to be Reflect. Ian, Ron, Darkwing Duck, and Ham are the main 4 reflectors in this game. There's a few others, but none of them are really all that super great at it compared to those 4. Especially with Ian, since Ian is able to get Reflect throughout the wave every single time one of his teammates gets Reflect. Ian's probably one of the best teammates you can have with him. Madam Mim's Oogie Boogie Disc is also a very good pairing with Darkwing Duck. I don't know if too many people really use the Oogie Boogie Disc on Madam Mim, but if you wanted to pair it with Darkwing Duck, it'd be great for increasing all of Darkwing Duck's max HP, armor, and basic damage, as well as increasing even more the max HP and basic damage of all damage roll allies by up to 50%. This thing is really just going to help Darkwing Duck deal even more damage out there and survive a little bit longer. So if you wanted to use the Oogie Boogie Disc on Madam Mim, you totally could. Winifred is going to be great as well because, one, her white skill has stun, and like I was saying, Darkwing Duck's blue skill extends stuns by, I think, 5 seconds each time he uses his blue skill on a stunned enemy. And then by extension, anybody that really has a lot of stun is also going to be great. If you wanted to go the stun route on Darkwing Duck's kit, any teammate that stuns the enemy team is going to reduce the cooldown on the blue skill by 2 seconds every single time. So he's basically just going to be getting his blue skill off constantly if he's on a stun team. So some of the best stunners out there are Pocahontas, Rapunzel, Mulan, Unstoppable, you got Zeus, Magica, Evil Queen is the queen of stun, I always say, Fairy Godmother, and Phil. There's quite a few stunners out there. I think Gadget has a lot of stun as well, and Fozzie. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for the teammate section. The only other thing I wanted to note is somebody that I would recommend actually avoiding as teammates with Darkwing Duck, which is a first for this series. I would recommend avoiding teaming Darkwing Duck with Timon and Pumbaa completely. One of my guildmates actually pointed this out to me. Since Timon and Pumbaa's Hakuna Matata prevents your team from being critted, it's going to prevent
Darkwing Duck's
green skill from going off, basically. If we look, before an enemy can make a crit on Darkwing Duck, he goes invisible and dodges the attack. So if Timon and Pumbaa are preventing all crits, it basically just means that Darkwing Duck's green skill cannot go off. so he's basically not going to be able to go invisible while the Hakuna Matata is in play. I would definitely recommend avoiding Timon and Pumbaa with Darkwing Duck as teammates, which definitely new for this series. It's probably something you didn't know, huh? So anyways, let's move on to who Darkwing Duck is good against.
Now, many of you have written in asking questions, such as, Dear Darkwing, what makes you the world's greatest hero? Is it your jaunty good looks? Your staunch moral fiber? Your dashing deeds of daring do?
Hey, that looks like your handwriting, DW.
I'm trying to make a point here.
Due to his Nick Wild friend disc, is going to be great against shields. So, like I was saying before, you got Slinky, Baymax, Li Shang, Clawhauser, Chief Bogo. Anybody like that plays with shields a lot is really going to be countered hard by this Nick Wild friend disc, because I don't think this has any kind of max to it, so it's literally just like every time they try and use a shield and it gets blocked by Darkwing Duck, they reduce their speed by 40% for the rest of the wave. So this can really stack up after a few times that Darkwing Duck blocks shields. So Darkwing Duck is definitely one of the best shield counters in the game, for sure. And then as a result, let me go back to the teammate section there. Darkwing Duck and Dash are actually going to be a great pairing, just because if you want to go for a really hard shield counter, since Dash with his Violet Disc deals like a shit ton more damage to shielded enemies. But I don't really know, because if you're blocking shields from going off with Darkwing Duck, I guess this means that the amount of damage that Dash does to shields is kind of reduced at the same time. But either way, Dash and Darkwing Duck, both really great shield counters, so you could probably pair them together as well if you really don't want to deal with Slinky. Darkwing Duck is also great against the backline due to his white skill, since he just jumps right to the backline. He can just karate chop them to death with his basic attacks. And then just generally, he's good against low armor heroes. A lot of the fantastic heavy heroes have low armor, so Darkwing Duck is going to be good against them. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the good against section. I don't really have a ton. Darkwing Duck is really just able to single-handedly take out pretty much any hero on his own. And yeah, that's about it for that. So let's talk about counters. How do you counter Darkwing Duck?
I am the kettle that whistles in the night. I'm a little teacup with a teeny-weeny hole in the handle that you can never quite get your finger in. I am Teapot Duck.
Now, Darkwing Duck, similar to Unstoppable on the last hero overview, is very tricky to counter. Once Darkwing Duck gets going, he really can kind of feel unstoppable with the amount of stun that he has, his invisibility, the amount of damage that he does. So one of the main things that I would try and do against Darkwing Duck is just get really quick damage off against him. So you could do, say, Dash, Shigo, Wasabi, Mulan even, maybe, Jessie. Really quick damage right in the beginning before Darkwing Duck is even able to get any of his attacks off. So you have that. Another great thing is going to be precision. There's only a few heroes that actually have precision. Jumba is the main one. Bolt has it. Phil does too. Or does Phil give precision to his team? I forget how it works. Phil's Ho Disc has precise that he gives to his linked ally. Okay. So precision is going to be a nice way, because it's going to get so that you're able to deal damage to Darkwing Duck while he's invisible, especially if Darkwing Duck is paired with Kermit. That's going to be a great thing to help. Tron, as always, is going to be a good counter. Not actually all that much, though, compared to most heroes, only because he doesn't really have too many boosts that he gives himself. He can go invisible, so Tron can technically get rid of the invisibility, but he really doesn't boost that much for himself, so you might be able to get rid of the speed boost and the basic damage boost that he gives himself, but other than that, Tron is actually not the best counter against Darkwing Duck. But if Darkwing Duck is paired with somebody else, then Tron will definitely help. Fatigue is another good one that's going to help against Darkwing Duck, because it's going to prevent him from being able to get his speed boost off on himself, the basic damage boost, as well as the invisibility on himself, which in turn makes it so that he can't get his reflect off. Some of the best fatiguers, like I said last week, are going to be Quackerjack, Carl, Swedish Chef, Sadness, Merlin is pretty decent, Calhoun is decent as well. I believe Phil has it quite a bit as well. So those are the main fatiguers. Something else I found kind of interesting is Merlin. Merlin in particular applies fatigue right in the beginning of the battle, so this basically just means that if Darkwing Duck gets his white skill off in the very beginning of the fight, or not his white skill, his green skill off in the very beginning of the fight, the fatigue is going to block that from going off, basically. So for the first, several seconds of the fight, Darkwing Duck might be kind of useless, basically. So Merlin is actually a very interesting counter, I think, to Darkwing Duck. And then the other thing I had was Fairy Godmother for, like I said last week, her Madame Min disc reduces the amount of damage taken from Reflect by, what was it, 80%? Is that what it went to? Or 60? So it's going to reduce the amount of damage that you take from Darkwing Duck's reflected moves, as well as if Darkwing Duck is paired with, say, like Ian or Ron or anything like that. So this is a great way to just help defensively against Darkwing Duck and his teammates. But that's pretty much all I had for counters. Oh, wait, one more thing. The last thing I had actually for Darkwing Duck was Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat is a good counter for invisibility heroes due to his purple skill. He prefers to target invisible enemies with his basic attacks and with head toss, his green skill, the atomic bomb of his kit. And he also deals a bonus damage to invisible enemies and with head toss, and stuns invisible enemies for 12 seconds longer. So if Darkwing Duck is invisible and you have Cheshire Cat on your team, Cheshire Cat's probably just going to take him out instantly, just like that. Is there anybody else that has invisibility? I don't think there really is any other invisibility counters out there other than precision. But yeah, so Cheshire Cat, great counter for this purple skill, since he prefers to target invisible heroes. Especially, this is going to be really good if Darkwing Duck is paired with Kermit. It's really going to help against that, I think. So Cheshire Cat, really good counter for Darkwing Duck for that reason as well. And I think with that, I think that is pretty much all I had for Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck is a very tricky little duck to counter. He really can just take out entire teams completely on his own. I do like to compare Ron and Darkwing Duck together because I think they are very kind of similar heroes, even though they do have a lot of different things on their kit. I do think that, like Darkwing Duck, Ron is going to be sticking around in the meta for a very, very, very long time. I think even 3 years from now, we're going to see Darkwing Duck and Ron Stoppable top of my tier list, even though everybody else is probably going to rotate out. I do think they are that good at just things in general. But anyways, so that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something today. That is going to be it. So, peace.
I am the ingrown toenail on the foot of crime. I am the zit that forms when you've got a really big date. I am the impacted wisdom tooth.
Right, Dad, we get the point.
3, 4, 5. Fuck 'em all. How did Pooh go down?
何お前は